My dogs heard this song, and I'm not joking, started praying the Lord's Prayer, R.I.P. Kirk. Yeah, dude, it's fucking awesome. It's fucking awesome. When he says we are Charlie Kirk, I wept. Jesus wept, and so did I, okay? This is the kind of bullshit Turkey would send to Eurovision. America should send this to Eurovision. America should send this to Eurovision. They would win. We crowed? Yep, we crowed. There is a lot going on in the world, okay? There's a lot going on in the world, but let's take a look. Okay, well, I'm back in America, and my fucking Twitter is busted already. Nice. Nice. In China, through the VPNs, this shit was working better. What the hell's going on?
Which ones?
There's no confiscation.
Hey,
Then you would know that he said that.
He said means of property.
Can I just say,
luxury condos
this
to
is a
be
perfect,
taken if they're not in use?
This is a perfect example. The MAGA media ecosystem has made Zohran seem like this extreme jihadist. And listen, some of his ideas
The
are outside
legislation
the
he
current liberal
supports in the
spectrum.
council will force property owners, before they can sell it on the public market,
It's called
to
right of
sell it.
first
Why didn't Trump confront him
to
about
a
that the
pri-
other day? Why didn't Trump confront him about it? Why was Trump...
He
said it was his honor.
Maybe he did.
Yeah.
said it
You know
was
what
his
Trump
honor.
said? Trump said that we both agree on increasing the supply of housing, and
They're
that's
best
going
friends. They're BFFs.
I'll tell you why it hasn't taken the socialism issue off the ballot, because Zohran Mamdani's own party is facing a challenge. Because not just is Hakeem Jeffries facing a challenge from a socialist, but you have Jerry Nadler retiring and socialists running for that seat. You have Dan Goldman facing a socialist challenger. You have Grace Meng facing a socialist challenger. All these members of the House, there's probably 4 or 5 of them, are facing socialist challenges.
Although,
I
I guess we should know that Mamdani has explicitly come out against a challenger.
And this is why I give him
to
credit.
Jeffries.
This is why I give him credit, because he has the most to lose. He spent last night basically telling his own DSA members not to support a socialist against an establishment Democrat.
Yeah.
Now today he's out there, chumming around with Donald Trump. He has a lot to lose on this, and I give him credit for doing the right
Let
thing.
me ask you real quick on Elise Stefanik. She had a response to all of this. She says, we all want New York City to succeed, but we'll have to agree to disagree on this one. If he walks like a jihadist, if he talks like a jihadist, if he campaigns like a jihadist, if he supports jihadists, he's a jihadist. And he is Kathy Hochul's jihadist. If you're Elise Stefanik tonight, how do you feel? Because I'm not sure that works
I don't think,
anymore.
no matter what, she ain't going to take her foot off the gas. I mean, she's going to go after him. She uses the term jihadist, but if you hang out with Hassan Piker, if you hang out with people that deny 9/11.
Yeah, famously, I am also a jihadist. Thank you, bald Staten Island Republican dipshit. Yeah. Brother, between you and I, who do you think closely resembles the unironic socially regressive policies of what you consider to be jihad? Like, because if we're going to think about like what Americans think jihad actually means, who do you think between me and the average Republican is closer to what these guys think is like jihad, Sharia law, Taliban rule, It's a fucking Republican. The American Taliban is the Republican Party, okay? Repression of women, denying them their fucking bodily autonomy, like every single thing that these dipshits advocate for on the social front, while they simultaneously claim it is people like myself or Ilhan Omar, even Zohran Mamdani, that are, doing Sharia law, doing jihad, they are the ones who are unironically advancing the concept that is infinitely closer to jihad or Sharia in the United States of America. Okay? Like what they suspect is what jihad is. What they suspect is Sharia. It's very fucking stupid. Yeah, Councilwoman Inna Vernikov. It's a good day for the American people when 2 leaders of such diametrically opposing views can come together for the betterment of our city and find common ground. But we should never kosher a Marxist with jihadist aligned views. Did we forget that Zohran Mamdani wants to cease the means of production? Zohran Mamdani wants to cease the means of production, not seize the means of production, okay? But wants to halt them entirely. Socialism is no production. Fucking awesome. I swear to God, the average IQ of an American politician is less than 0, okay? They found, like, in order to be a politician, you could be like here's an example of this. You could be like you could go to Oxford. You could be a Rhodes Scholar. But in order to get up there on that stage, in order to become a successful politician in America, you have to literally fucking slam your head with a frying pan over and over again until your brain is leaking out of your ears. Okay. And the greatest example of this, of course, is the what's his face? Kennedy from Louisiana, a Rhodes Scholar who fucking runs around like foghorn leghorn or whatever that fucking thing is. Oh my God. Tonight on the third night of Hanukkah, I'm at the... It's always the same shit. She's the one who invited Netanyahu to attend Zohran's inauguration. It's always this. It's always this. It's 100% of the time. There's a 100% success rating on this shit. Unimaginably racist, Islamophobic stuff that you hear, and the moment you look at their profile, you're like, oh, I get it. I see what happened here. Nice. Baby, wake up. It's time for Israel's feelings again. Yeah, I know. Exactly. Did we forget that he refused to condemn globalized intifada, refused to condemn Hamas, campaign with Hassan who said America deserved 9/11 and pressed around with jihadists? Just yesterday, Mamdani blamed a house of worship for the protest which called for violence against Jews inside the temple. Mamdani should have been given a spanking at the White House. Disappointed that instead he was legitimized. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. I can't believe that Zohran Mamdani campaigned with someone who denies 9/11 happened, which is what this guy is saying. At least he's unique. Did I say 9/11 did happen and America deserved it? Or did I say 9/11 didn't happen?
She ain't going to take her foot off the gas. I mean, she's going to go after him. You know, she uses the term jihadist, but if you hang out with Hassan Piker, if you hang out with people that deny 9/11 was the responsibility of Islamic terrorism, you hang out with people like that, you're going to get that criticism. That's going to be her issue. That's what she's going to push in the campaign. And I don't think she's going to take her foot off the gas one bit.
Errol, you know, why do you think Mamdani made this pivot? In a way, I mean, it is somewhat, it's smart because he neutralized Trump especially in the first maybe 6 months of his term on some very key issues, law and order, maybe even ICE, funding for the city of New York. Why do you think he ended up here?
Well, look, Mamdani wants to succeed. He wants to be a successful mayor before he wants to do anything else. This caricature that people have painted of him as if he's some ideologue who's all he's ever wanted to do.
Listen to the whole sentence. He never said you deny 9/11 happened. No, he said jihad means struggle. You are upholding a racist trope. No, dumbass. Listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth. I said their conception of jihad, which is a false conception of jihad, or their conception of Sharia. Okay? Who do you think is closer to their understanding of jihad and Sharia? Listen to my words. I'm not saying this is the appropriate. I'm not saying that this is the appropriate understanding of what jihad means. Now you are, yes. No, you fucking moron. I said it in the beginning. It's not my fault that you are incapable of hearing what I'm talking about.
Congratulations, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President.
A cordial Oval Office meeting between President Donald Trump and Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani Friday, described by both as productive.
Focused on a place of shared admiration and love, which is New York City, and the need to deliver affordability to New York.
Yes, dealing with the chatters is my own personal jihad. That's what it is, straight up. That's what's going on. Don't get it twisted. I say politics is depressing and hopeless. Time to become a travel blogger and go back to exploring China. No. It's depressing. It's hopeless. But also at the same time, we do it nonetheless. And the reason why we do it nonetheless is because there is a lot of avenues of improvement, and we're experiencing said improvement. So at a time when, you know, the American political landscape is shifting and is changing, I think it's silly to just like take a sidestep. You know, do you feel betrayed by Mamdani? No. I am going to go back to my OG sentiment, as I have said, even while he was campaigning, which is that politicians are not your friends. Politicians do politics. Okay, put the policy in the bag, little bro. That's it. put the policies in the bag, little bro.
I expect to be helping him, not hurting him. A big help, because I want New York City to be great.
On Sunday, during his first appearance back home, Mamdani said he was feeling good.
Too often, when two politicians meet, the conversation rarely extends beyond them. And what we found instead is that this was a conversation that was productive.
The mayor-elect speaking to reporters outside a Bronx church where inside he preached his priority, a more affordable city.
And to do that work means to work with anyone, so long as the work that we do is the work to help this city and the people that call it home.
While the two appear to be putting aside their differences after months of trading insults, over the weekend, Mamdani didn't shy away from past criticism or...
Yeah, I mean, he's the president, okay? Fascist or not, he's the fucking president. And we do not have the organization to like militarily resist a fascist government. I don't know what the expectation is here. Like the notion that he's supposed to go up there and be like, fuck you. Fuck you, Donald Trump, suck my dick. Like, no, of course not. You have to fucking play ball. And for people to turn around and say, oh, well, you guys had a lot of words to say about Kamala Harris running around with Liz Cheney. Yeah, Kamala Harris personally chose to offer a platform to Liz Cheney. Liz Cheney had no motion whatsoever amongst the Republican base of support. That was more beneficial for Liz Cheney than it was for Kamala Harris. And I cannot believe that people are still making these sorts of comparisons. That was bad politics. This is necessary. Like Liz Cheney has no power over Kamala Harris, and Liz Cheney had no motion anyway. So running around with Liz Cheney was a major mistake, demonstrated by the fact that Kamala Harris lost. In this circumstance, you have to look at the position that Zohran Mamdani has and the position that Donald Trump holds. And in this circumstance, this meeting is more beneficial for Zohran Mamdani than it is for Donald Trump. This has been my main issue. They were 1,000 times more organized in 1919 than we are today, 10,000 times more serious than we are. We are cooked, and any leftist who thinks we could usher in socialism at this time is either 1, blind, 2, stupid, 3, both, or 4, a counter-revolution who's just trying to show that they're determined, the other left is. You have to organize within the material realities that you have, not one where you wish, not material realities you wish we had, okay? You're laughing and saying 1919, but it's true. There was a much more robust response from the socialist left, communist, trade unionist, labor militancy that was actually winning success through labor militancy. We don't have any of that stuff right now. There is nothing that you can do. It doesn't happen overnight. You have to like lean into it. You have to normalize it. You have to organize around it. And eventually, if the opportunity is there, then you have to move. You can't do that right now. It's just, this is something that I have talked about quite a bit. In order, if your goal is to build a mass line or a popular front, you have to go where the masses are. And the masses are self-identifying liberals for the most part, especially in this country. There is very little class consciousness. That's it.
Clarifying this unexpected moment.
Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay. You can just say
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It's easier. It's easier than explaining it.
And that's something that I've said in the past. I say it today. And I think what I appreciated about the conversation that I had with the president was that we were not shy about the places of disagreement.
A place of agreement, public safety, and the decision to retain.
Dude, this is so funny, but this is the real horseshoe, like unironically. The take you're not ready to hear, this is unironically what the median voter sees. Mamdani in the center left, Trump on the center right, Kamala Harris on the far left, Liz Cheney on the far right. I'm not, like, this is unironically the reverse centrist horseshoe, but it is closer to the fucking median voter. This is a truth nuke, okay? This is closer to the median voter's understanding of the world. I swear to God, because it's mostly primarily vibes based. Okay, it is primarily vibes based. This is not correct politically. Okay, but it is primarily vibes based. You need to understand that. You need to understand that. This actually corresponds to polling on the matter as well. A part of the reason for why this is primarily vibes-based is because the American voters' understanding is completely out of whack. They don't analyze things They don't analyze the left-right dynamic in American politics by looking at policies. It's not grounded in ideology. It's grounded in vibes. And not only that, but also it's grounded in like the heterodox. It's grounded in like heterodox thinking in general.
Because so often in our politics, we try and tell people what they should be worried about, what they should be concerned about. But when you actually ask New Yorkers and you listen to them, you hear it come back to the issues that animated not just the conversation the president and I had with the press after our meeting, but frankly in the meeting itself. It was a conversation where we spoke about the...
Whoever media trained Mamdani needs to be the head of the Democratic Party immediately, Lamau? No. I think it starts with the policies. It starts with the worldview. The reason why you consider him to be so good at messaging and so believable is because he has a well-defined worldview that is outside of normal politics in the Democratic Party. Like, he is a solid communicator. He's naturally good. He's naturally charismatic. He's naturally a solid communicator, which just certainly helps. But ultimately, it definitely does come back to having politics that are anchored around simple to understand policies. Okay, he comes across as sincere, but ultimately, he comes across as earnest and sincere around advancing an agenda that many people associate him with. Okay. It's as simple as believing in something. Simply put, if you want it to be defined, not by the actual politics of Zohran Mamdani, you can basically say he believes in something. Democrats come across as believing in nothing. Republicans, on the other hand, also believe in something, right? There is a level of sincerity with Republican politics, even though the politics they believe in are fucking awful. They're garbage. They're harmful to large swaths of the population. They still have definable worldviews, even if we consider it to be evil, right? They have a definable worldview that is seen as tangible, and also people can associate with them positively or negatively if they choose to do so. Democrats, on the other hand, oftentimes shy away from that. They think that's a failure. They think that's a bad thing to be defined by policies. They are oftentimes believe that the most successful method is to simply say you are not a Republican, and then that's it. That should be enough for everybody to vote for you. Like, I'm not talking about the actual content of the messaging here, though that's good. He's very good at bringing questions back to policy issues. Yeah, but you can't do that. You can't do that if you have no policies to anchor yourself around, to anchor your campaign around. That's it. That's my point.
We've seen him do this in other major cities. Did you get any assurances in your meeting, Mayor-elect Mamdani, that President Trump will not send troops into New York?
I told the president that the cornerstone of an affordability agenda is public safety, and that it is critically important to me. And for all that has been said and all that has been spoken about, and the tens of millions of dollars looking to make New Yorkers fearful of that question, the truth of it is, in fact, that I'm looking forward to working with the NYPD to deliver on that. And I shared with the president that my decision to retain Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch is in large part a recognition of the fact that in her time leading the NYPD, she has driven down crime across the 5 boroughs while starting to uproot corruption.
This is my least favorite part about like all the things that he's done so far. Not only because like Tisch is a ultra Zionist, but also I think like getting a police commissioner that is on board with your worldview, or at least like much closer to your worldview, is a much better way to deal with it. But I think that it's a miscalculation. I think it's a miscalculation overall, but that is the real reason why a lot of people are souring on Zohran Mamdani. I'm not one of those people that says like, oh, this is, you guys don't want someone to actually govern and legislate. You're being silly and childish. I think that's an understandable area of concern. I think it's a totally valid criticism. I think his answers on that were really bad leading up to the election, and I was a lot more forgiving because there was an election in that situation. But like the Jessica Tisch thing, is part of the reason why Jessica Tish thing is part of the reason why, like, even Trump was more comfortable associating with Zohran, apparently, saying like, oh, well, you know, he kept Tish on. Can you ask your viewers to join ICE just to be really incompetent so they slow down ICE? No. You cannot get rid of any Tish in New York. It's akin to thinking you can just say fuck you to the president. No. You're the mayor. Don't be crazy. I do think Tish is bad, but he's overruling her already and abolishing the strategic response group, which is a major demand of police reformers. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, we'll see what kind of friction takes place. If Tish wants to remain the head of the police in New York and lead the NYPD, or if she just starts undermining Zohran's agenda to the best of her ability, and she will have a lot of power to do so, at which point the friction will lead to, the contradictions will inevitably have to be resolved.
But, you know, violent crime is substantially down under Commissioner Tish's watch. Do you acknowledge that her approach is working, and therefore do you need to listen to her when she says, I need more cops on the street?
The reason I made the decision to retain Commissioner Tish is because of the importance of outcomes. The fact that she has been able to deliver on rooting out corruption while lowering crime is something to be celebrated. And I think the commissioner and I have been very clear that what brings us together is a shared importance of public safety. I think we can do that with the officers we have.
Would you rule out putting more police officers on the street?
What I will tell you is that the $35,000 we have budgeted, that's the amount that I think we need.
Okay. Let me ask you, again, just going back to that press conference with President Trump, as reporters were leaving, you were answering a question that I think was hard for a lot of people to hear about your response to protests outside of a Manhattan synagogue. Your initial response to that incident did receive some criticism, as you know. What is your message to Jewish New Yorkers who feel you won't be tough enough in your response to anti-Semitic incidents?
Since crime is down, why would they need more police? Great question. That's actually something that he should be saying at all. She should be saying as well. Be like, hey, look, she's actually succeeded on delivering on this promise, and I think it's good. It's good that she did that. But that doesn't mean that we need more cops, as a matter of fact. What we need is to lighten the burden of cops.
The future of the Democratic Party. A number of Republicans are casting you as the face of the Democratic Party. Mr. Mayor-elect, I wonder, do you think that Democratic socialists can win across the country in battlegrounds?
Is it fair to call Zohran's mandate a mandate if 75% of New Yorkers didn't vote at all for a mayor? Considering that it was a heavily contested race with a former dynastic name in New York politics and Zohran still was able to achieve above 50%, yes, absolutely. It's beyond a shadow of doubt that it is, yes, a mandate. And anyone who tries to act like it's not is fucking coping. Okay? Record turnout. He defeats not only the Republican, but also the other Democrat in the race, who still got a tremendous amount of votes. It is absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. Can you really call it a mandate just because it was the highest turnout in New York City electoral history in the last 80 years? Pepega asked question. Yeah, it's a stupid question. But it's one that the media has been pushing over and over again. So, of course, you're going to have people also repeating that silly line without really reading too much into it or without thinking about it at all is normal. That is the reason why the media actually fucking hits that line. He was an independent, get it together. Okay, dude, come on.
Two more quick questions. If Democrats win the midterms, do you want to see Leader Jeffries become the Speaker of the House?
Yes.
Okay, that was a firm, quick answer.
Boo. Boo. That's an L, okay? Big L for Zohran as opposed to Zohran, if you know what I'm saying. It's just, nah. I don't know what kind of fucking wheeling and dealing happened behind closed doors, but this is inappropriate. Straight up. Especially because like fucking Hakeem Jeffries is going to be an enemy of everything that he presents. Okay? Everything he wants to do with his agenda, Hakeem Jeffries is antagonistic to. It also kind of makes him look insincere on a lot of this shit, okay? Hakeem Jeffries is, by normies, known as AIPAC Shakur, okay? Especially in New York. Sure, he's very popular in his own district, but nationally, he is unimaginably unpopular. Right now, you're talking to Meet the Press. There is absolutely zero reason to try and defend Hakeem Jeffries. Yeah, damn, sometimes it's your own digital footprint. Exactly. This looks insincere, looks flip-floppy. After at least 2,251 passengers were killed over the course of July 2014, Hakeem Jeffries got on stage at a rally in New York City and paraphrased George Wallace. Israel today, Israel tomorrow, Israel forever. If Jeffries is considered a progressive, the term has lost all of its meaning. This take, wait, what? There's exactly zero value in Zohran's agenda as mayor and answering any other way. Well handled. I disagree. I disagree vehemently. Trump's claims on big progress on ending the Russia-Ukraine war. Let's take a
Addressing
look.
the Swedish Parliament, Vladimir Zelensky
Yeah,
acknowledged some progress in talks over the weekend in Geneva, but his key message, Ukrainian sovereignty, is non-negotiable.
There is a lot of noise in the media, a lot of political pressure, and even greater responsibility for the decisions ahead. Putin wants legal recognition for what he has stolen, to break the principle of territorial integrity and sovereignty. And that's the main problem.
EU leaders, blindsided by the surprise US peace plan last week, are now asserting themselves. At a meeting in Angola today, walking that tightrope between not raining on Trump's diplomatic parade, but also holding the line on Ukraine.
Ukraine's territory and sovereignty must be respected.
Sovereignty.
Only Ukraine, as a sovereign country, can make decisions regarding its armed forces. The choice of their destiny is in their own hands.
I'll keep it a $1.50. Might is right politics, baby. This is all it is. Might is right politics is what it is, and it turns out that America has much less motion on the global stage because this peace deal is anything but, okay? It's anything but. Let's be real. But also, as Trump would put it, he does not hold the cards. There is no holding of the cards on the American front at this point. Like he has been pushing for Ukraine to capitulate to all of the demands being made by the Russian side here. And I don't even know how you deal with it. I don't even know how you come to a conclusion here. America has motion. They just don't want to use it to help Ukraine. I don't think America has that kind of motion. Beyond the maximalist position, which would be, threatening nuclear holocaust, mutually assured destruction, what motion do they fucking have? Here's an assessment. If true, the U.S. Former Secretary Marco Rubio is Secretary of State and National Security Advisor. He is now in Geneva with the U.S. Army Secretary negotiating with the Ukrainians on what is largely being seen as a document that halts the fighting in Ukraine, giving Russia concessions like control over Ukrainian territory that the Russian military does not yet control, and barring Ukraine from future membership in NATO. The second part of this was already a non-starter. It was already a given. But the first part of this is fucking crazy, okay? Remember when I said that Vladimir Putin had maximalist goals for Ukraine that I think are far-fetched and insane? One of them was complete disarmament of the Ukrainian national forces, and the other was territorial acquisition of territories that Vladimir Putin had not militarily taken over. The very fact that they're doing the territorial acquisition for areas that the Russian military hasn't even taken is crazy. It is a complete defeat. It's waving the white flag for the United States of America, basically saying we don't have any kind of capacity here. And it will most likely turn into an insurgency battle for the most part. It'll be like espionage. It'll be an insurgency battle. It'll be areas where Russian troops are positioned. Ukrainians will try to fight back in secret, drone warfare, things of that nature. It'll be guerrilla warfare for the most part, making it absolutely impossible to maintain control over. But I just don't, on the one hand, I think it's ridiculous to force Ukraine's hand to concede. On the other hand, I don't know if there's any other option here. a lot of people, I think, look to the situation and say, no, Ukraine should still keep fighting. They should keep fighting. They should keep fighting. But if the problem has been the lack of manpower on the Ukrainian side, then how could they do it? How could they do that? These talks in Geneva are taking place on the eve of what appears to be a massive U.S. effort to remove Maduro from oil-rich Venezuela, a Russian ally in the U.S. sphere of influence. Rubio leading talks after denying to U.S. senators that the Ukraine plan was a U.S. plan, implying it was a Russian plan, and then denying he said so in a tweet today while in Geneva. This as reports of diplomats leaving Caracas, flights being canceled due to the massive U.S. military buildup off of Venezuela's shores, and plans for the USA to begin CIA-led covert ops and alleged plans to drop flyers demanding Maduro step down. In other words, regime change that Rubio has long advocated for. The Ukraine deal appears to be linked to the looming U.S. actions in Venezuela based on timing and public recording. I like that we're just, after years and years of Ukrainians being fucking slaughtered, we just tell Ukraine to suck it the fuck up, and we basically offer territories of Ukraine as a gift to Russia so that Marco Rubio can go and invade Venezuela militarily. It is fucking insane. Yeah, we're hot swapping wars now. I mean, one could say that we already did that kind of. The thing is, the leftists in Ukraine are not giving up the fight. They've stated many times recently that they will die fighting with or without support from the West. And I don't think the ultranationalists will surrender to. Partisans will rise up and it will never end. Yeah, I think that the next stage of Ukrainian resistance will look more like an insurgency rather than state-sanctioned defense from the standing military. Why can't America just send more weapons to Ukraine, F-35s, Tomahawks, and other missiles? Russia won't dare bomb America. China holds all the cards. If America had a good relationship with China, they could make Russia withdraw everything. I mean, this is what I've been saying from the start.